All right, welcome back to Reseller Unscripted, and this is the episode everybody's been waiting for. We get messages all the time. The big sellers gatekeep all of their sources, and we're going to put a kibosh to that today. We brought in a personal source of mine who is a liquidator, has been in the game for a long time, and we get to ask all the questions that you guys have been asking us. Where do we get our stuff from? Do these pallets really exist? What should I look out for? All those fun questions. So I'm going to let John introduce himself and what company he works for, and we'll get started.
Yeah, so John Hendrickson here. I'm with BuyLow Warehouse out of Birmingham, Alabama. Source truckloads, pretty much anything and everything you could possibly want from West Coast to East Coast.
Yes, sir.
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
I have personally
on here.
Yes, I personally bought from John several times, and he's kind of a celebrity, really, in the game. They put on a show every year, WSHL, is that correct?
Yep.
In Kentucky?
Louisville, yep.
Perfect. And so if you guys are looking for a place to go to source, that is an awesome convention to go to. Laura and I missed it last year. We had some family stuff we had to take care of. But we heard some really, really good things. A smaller, more tight-knit group there.
Yeah,
where everything's a little bit more personal.
Yeah, definitely more around just liquidation rather than wholesale.
Yeah, and a lot of it different than ASD, where a lot of us have been before. ASD is literally like everything under the sun. But this is a really, really cool convention for you to really genuinely meet people, meet up afterwards. It's a smaller place. So yeah, really, really cool, well connected in the community. So if John doesn't have it, he's probably able to find it. Or at least give you some guidance on things that do exist that don't exist.
Yeah, look,
hey, John.
The new customers are the best to work with just because guiding them in the right direction.
I got a question for you. Do Skims pallets exist?
No.
What about Lululemon?
Do straight Nike pallets exist?
No. PlayStation 5
I got
pallets.
one.
No, iPhone pallets.
What about Aloe Yoga?
All right, I'm not sure.
So you can't get the new PlayStation at $1 on a pallet, brand new in box.
I see them out there for like $2,500 for a pallet of like 60 of them or something like that. But that's
we love it. Yanking your chain. The whole episode is going to be about that.
It sounds too good to be true. It is. Like that should be the number one rule. It's the first thing I tell any new customer, new to the game at all, is like, if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
For example, like I went on Facebook yesterday and I saw somebody selling a whole pallet of Hokas for $10 a unit. I'm like, there's no way.
Like that's a pallet you could get that's been processed by somebody, and they just literally. But it's not. Yeah, you're not going to be at $10 a unit. $10 a unit, you're going to be more like $35 to $45 a unit if you're lucky.
Not 10.
No.
I feel so bad for the real, I think it's Yadir.
Yeah.
Ari, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Well,
there is somebody
about that yesterday. It's a scammer, guys. If you see this on Facebook, like I'm not, it's so bad, guys. If it looks not true, it's not true. Nobody's selling Hoka pallets, New Balance pallets, On Cloud pallets. Nobody is selling you 2,000 units of Skims and you're going to sell 700 in one show if you're a first-time seller and make $21,000. Like, that's bullshit.
Here's the other thing. This is how scary this game can be, though. There is a person who has made their own whatnot sourcing group on Facebook, and there's like tens of thousands of people that follow this group, and the girl who made it is posing to be an actual legit liquidator. They took their photos and their name and is posing to be a liquidator, and they don't allow any comments. The only comments that they allow is, hey, can I buy this, or more info, please, or whatever. They won't allow anybody to say, well, this is a scam. Even though all three of us and a million other people know it's a scam, she's literally out there taking money and advantage of new sellers. So if you guys are looking for information on pitfalls and staying away from that stuff, make sure you watch this whole episode, because there's going to be a lot of information about that type of stuff in here. All right, John, I want to know your top 3 things that you would tell somebody who is looking to source right now.
First thing I already said, just if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Number 2 is, like, you seen somebody posted my name yesterday. on the big truckload. I don't even know which page it was. It was Liquidation Truckloads.
Yeah,
One of those
there's
pages.
a Facebook group,
I'm
Liquidation
not gonna show the
Truckload
name, but
Scammers.
this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, she
crazy
changed
is
her
that?
name to Everett's Bargain
Bargain
Bins
Boot
I can't
now.
believe they're still up and going.
Look at this. Look at this.
Well, the last one got shut down,
Okay.
and then she created another one, did the same
I was
thing.
on the old one.
Look at those prices.
And that photo that
500
you see up
pairs
there,
for $500. 500 pairs for $5,600. Guys, come on.
is
Wake
not real.
up.
And that photo is of a real person who is really in liquidation, and they're
And
just
really
using
good.
their photo.
And they also, Dusty, they own the Whatnot reseller group.
That's what I'm saying. It's a trusted group. You see Whatnot on there, you're like, yeah, I trust
I
this.
wouldn't
This
source.
is totally legit.
I wouldn't source anything on the Whatnot groups, like any product, just because people are like Whatnot. Anybody can do Whatnot. So you got all these new people trying to start up Whatnots. Well, they're just an easy target, and that's where all the scammers are right now. Like they're lighting Whatnot sellers up just by the pallet. $1,200. It can be $1,200. It don't have to be 20 grand. You know, like I have customers all the time just looking for a couple of pallets of Target clothing, Walmart clothing, whatever, just something cheap to get started. Yeah, this guy got me, like I sent him the money, then he needed a deposit for freight, or freight went up, so he had me send more money. Like it's all red flags, red flags, red flags, and they just don't count.
And that's the thing is like they're not going to try to get you to buy a $20,000 load because they know most of the people who are going to fall for their pitfall are those individuals who are just starting out and just have $1,000 and this is what they saved up and they worked hard for. They're going to buy their first pallet with, and those are the people that they're taking advantage of.
It's disgusting.
Yep, it is.
Really, and people are doing it on Whatnot too. They're basically just throwing a whole bunch of junk in a pallet that you will never be able to resell. And then it's like you're buying it off of hype, but then like when you get it, you're like, well, now what do I do? Now I'm $2,000 in the hole.
Yep. And well, so as I say, number two is I would say, like somebody posted me yesterday for references. I would do that. Like I tell everybody, I tell anybody new talking to me, post me. Post anybody you're going to buy from. Why are you going to send all this money out? Especially like it's usually, average truck, let's just say 8 to 12 grand. Post, do your due diligence and post a screenshot of the person you're buying from. I mean, why not? You're sending them 10 grand. Why would you not get reference checks?
There is a great group for that. Let me see if I can find it. So as much as you don't want to source on Whatnot groups, let me see here. What was that?
I know there's a bunch of us on those.
For a massive pallet. I got fleeced for a truckload. I'm not going to say who this person is, but I'm just going to talk about it. I've talked about it a couple times, but I bought 10,000 units of this brand, and I was expecting to be all brand new with the tags. I paid a good amount. I paid over $100,000 for this load, and it's completely misrepresented. The sizes are crazy. There's no original tags. It is an absolute mess. Then I come to find out that this person fleeced 3 other sellers who I'm not going to name. It is,
and these
so
are big
bad.
sellers that have been doing this for years. Big
sellers. I got cooked. Somebody else got cooked. Somebody else got cooked. And then an actual business bought it too. And their whole business got cooked. So it's like almost $500,000 of this brand that is completely cooked. I'm not going to go into deep specifics, but it's like so crazy to me how somebody that I've done business with for over 2 years now, I've spent over $2 million with them. And then they send a load like that. It blows my mind.
And did nothing about it.
And the thing is, unless you're working with somebody that is reputable, like John, they're going to do nothing for you.
Yep.
When you sign for loads, almost always it says loads as is. That's their coverage. You're not going to have any refute at all unless you're working with somebody who actually cares about you being successful, that wants you to come back, that understands the long play, not just one truck, hundreds of trucks over a long period of time.
Worried about the volume, not one sale. We want customer. I want you to buy off me every week, not this one-time load and me never carry.
Yes. The liquidation world is very big and very small at the same time.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I commented on a post, actually. Somebody posted John's name in a Whatnot Resellers group and said, hey, I'm about to buy from this guy. Is he legit? And within an hour, there's 15 comments on there about how great he is. I bought from him, all that sort of stuff. That's your way to fact check, or reach out to somebody that you know and say, hey, have you bought from this person before? Because you would be amazed. There's a million people out there that have done the same thing that we're doing, and they know these people. So use that advice.
You've asked me before.
Learn from other.
I think you've asked me about a couple of people in the past, like, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
know anything about this guy? Chances are, if I haven't,
Exactly.
because I mean, I'm just in the world every day, all day. Like, if I haven't heard of them, I mean, I can check. I always check with my boss for one, but if I haven't heard of him, chances are it's like he's not legit or he's just behind the scenes. And so, I mean, you can do some research, but like just reaching out to somebody like me. And I have customers, new customers, or just customers in general that are longtime customers. I tell them to reach out to me if they're buying from somebody else. I don't care. Just don't get ripped off. Like, I have no problem saying yes or no if somebody's good to go.
Yeah. And that's the super important part is you ask the questions. No one's going to lie to you. John has no reason to lie to you.
No.
You know, if he can fulfill what you're trying to order, great, he's going to do it. If he can't, he can't. You know what I mean? John only carries so many products. Every once in a while, he get a different thing in here and there, but he has like a steadfast. This is what I do. We have a liquidator that's close to us that is amazing. Sam's Club is their thing. If I went and asked him for a pallet of Zappos shoes, he would just tell me, okay, you're going to have to find it somewhere else. Here's where it might be. Here's who you could contact, because it's not his wheelhouse. It doesn't matter. He's got no skin in the game there, and he's not going to be dishonest about that. No good liquidator is going to be dishonest about any of that kind of stuff, because they know in that honesty, you're going to look at their stuff too, and you're going to know, okay, hey, I can buy some trucks from this guy. I know he's legit. He told me the truth about this. It's a small world.
Well, I think that's like the biggest thing is just trusting somebody and just like knowing they're being honest, because it's so much easier to be honest about everything. Because like you said, wheelhouse, if somebody asks me about something that I do not sell on a regular basis at all, I'll just be like, listen, you probably know about, if you're looking for the load and you've bought the load before, you probably know more about the load than I do. Can I get the information? Yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what I'm talking about, because you're going to, call me out right away because you're already more experienced in that. Kind of like you guys with clothing brands. I'm not going to pretend I know what you're talking about, because most of them I don't.
Yeah, and most of the time, if you see somebody gatekeeping any type of information, it's probably because they have an exclusive contract with that person where they're not allowed to say anything. They're not allowed to disclose the brand. Sometimes there are certain brands that's the requirement. You can't tell anybody what you're selling. You can't tell them where you got it from. That's our deal.
There
that's
is
what you have to
plenty
do.
of loads that are supposed to be exported only. A lot of brands that are supposed to be
Exporting
exported only, and they stay in the country. So yeah, that stuff's going to stay under wraps.
Yep, exactly. And so if you see a hard wall on certain things, that's probably why. It's probably not because that person just doesn't want to be honest with you. It's because there's a reason behind it.
Yep.
Okay, Johnny boy, what's number 3?
I don't know. I was trying to think. There's number 2, number 1 and number 2 is easy, but I mean, those are the most important, just because, your money's involved. And
I would say number 3 for me is start local. Start close to home.
Yeah.
Don't make your first purchase in Texas if you live in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's
Go somewhere local. That's how Laura and I started. We literally we went to bins at the beginning and started trying to do the bin thing. It wasn't our jam. So then we went to a local liquidator that we knew existed, and we went there and we just said, hey, do you have X, Y, and Z? This is what we're looking for. We're looking for some higher end fashion. We don't really know where to find that. And he didn't have it, but he was able to tell us someone who did have it. And then we went to that person. And then from that person, we learned about other people and just continued to kind of build that like web out further. And then every year we go to conventions, talk with different people every single time, look at different booths every single time. And every time that you go to those, you're building one more connection and one further person. Just like John. If it wasn't for John, there's probably 10 liquidators that I would never know about, because he was honest with me about it, and I was able to create connections because of him. So even if I'm not buying from John right at the moment, it doesn't mean that he isn't still a useful tool in helping me to expand and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know. Like, I mean, I'll have customers that will go 6, 7 months without buying from me. And then all of a sudden, either they switched up what they're doing or I got something that I know they're interested in that I usually don't have. You never know. Like, the bigger your web, I guess, like the better, because you got plenty of resources to reach out to.
You cannot be transactional. Well, I was going to say you can't be transactional in this business.
No, and another thing I was going to say is volume.
Yeah.
You got to know that you're not going to make money unless you're moving volume in liquidation. Like, there's not massive margins like some of these people think there is. Like, oh, I can buy these Hokas for $10 a pair and sell them for $120 a pair on eBay. It's not realistic. Like, I had a guy buy a furniture load, like a 3PL furniture load, and I mean, nobody will describe a load. I'll talk you out of buying a load before you buy the load. Before I sell it to you and get you, like, I will literally tell you all the negatives that are a possibility. And they were on board. And what scared me is he made the comment that, well, I mean, I'm 10,000 delivered. Like, I should be able to easily get, turn this for 30, right? And I'm like, whoa, you're expecting to make 20 grand profit off this? No, that's like, there's already unrealistic expectations. I feel like that's a lot of people new to the game is they think they're going to get rich quick or they're just going to make tons of money. And like, volume is so important. I tell everybody new, you have got to not worry. Okay, that recliner retails for $2,700 on Lazy Boy. That's great. You're going to be lucky if you get $500 for it. And unless you want to sit on it for 2 months and let it sit there and collect dust, you might get $1,200 for it if the right buyer walks through the door. But no, sell it, move on, because you ain't got $500 in it.
And what a lot of people don't realize, especially as they're scaling and growing, is logistic fees to ship an item. You look at a truckload and you look at volume, like John talked about. If you've got, there's a stark difference between buying 200 pieces of furniture in a truck that cost you $3,000 to ship. Well, that just raised your price $10 plus a unit, as 100%. Compared to getting a truckload that has 20,000 units and you only paid $2,000 to ship it. So you need to be really mindful too when you start looking at truckloads or scaling LTL rates. If you're shipping one pallet, let's say for us, like, we couldn't buy one pallet from California. It just wouldn't make sense for us. I don't care how good that product is. The cost for me to ship a pallet from California to my warehouse is like $1,000 plus. No matter how good that inventory and that one single pallet is, there isn't enough units for me to make sense of that extra $1,000 that I have to spend on that. So being mindful of where you're at, and that's that whole starting local thing, to be able to go there with a trailer or a truck and pick that item up and not pay a cent for shipping helps you to kind of build that bankroll to take a dive on something bigger of a truckload that costs $20,000.
You guys want to hear something crazy talking about that? So like, I recently made a purchase. It's in a whole another state, and I got a freight quote for it today. It's for one pallet. But the thing is that they're going to need to palletize it there, right? So, but I'm going to send somebody else. They wanted $2,969 for one pallet LTL cross country. That is the most insane rate ever.
And the other piece of that puzzle too, you look at a business at the scale like Ari and I, when you think about LTL, that's going to take a week, 2 weeks, whatever, to get to you, because they're taking it. It's not a direct truck. And so they're taking it from one place, then they're bringing it to another place. And whenever there's space on that truck, then they bring it to another place. That's how the rate is cheaper for an LTL. And so you have to realize your money is sitting out there for weeks at a time.
Oh, real quick.
And so
LTL,
you don't have
less than truckload. You get asked that all the time.
Sorry, we should have clarified that. But if you're running an LTL, you need to realize that your money's tied up for that long too. You don't have that money to spend on a new deal that you get. You can't turn it around as quickly. Direct trucks are nice because I can buy a whole truck and I can have it on my doorstep 2-3 days later, depending on where it's shipping from.
Yep. No other stops.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about pallet buying in general. We talked a little bit about margins, expectations. What are some of the what are some of the things that you get? People come in and have questions and you're like, man, this just seems like common sense. Like, these are things that I feel like you should know coming into this game. Because there's a lot of times where I feel like common sense just isn't so common. And there's a lot of things that people don't understand, like LTL. Like, we all understand what LTL is, but if you're new to the game, you might not even understand what that means. When somebody says, okay, I'm going to LTL this to you, you don't understand the dynamic that goes behind that. So is there a revolving question or set of questions that you get a lot that you think it would be important for everybody listening to know?
Mostly, it really kind of relates to LTL. It's like, can I just buy 6 pallets? Can I just buy 7 pallets? That I get that a lot, and that's typically not the case unless they're like higher end pallets, say like electronic pallets that are really clean. Everything's been tested, everything works. You're paying $2,200 a pallet for them, something like that. That's when you can do some LTLs. But you just want 5, 6 pallets of Walmart general merchandise. It's not happening unless it's coming from somebody's warehouse. If it is possible, beware, because it's probably not direct. Anything direct's gonna be whole truckloads. Anything less, you want to be a little skeptical. I can't talk now. Anyways, but you want to be hesitant about it because it could be sitting in somebody's warehouse. They got everything good out of it, and they're shipping you what's left over. And then all the abbreviations in the liquidation world, the AMZ, the TGT, the WMT for all your stores. Stores, like, we're not supposed to put the actual name of the places out there because they don't want their brand posted on the secondary market. Contract holders don't want it out there either, especially with the location and that kind of thing, just because of, I guess, different behind the scene agreements and contracts.
Okay, so sorry I tuned out for a second here. We had a question actually a month ago that I just remembered, and it ties into this episode pretty well. It's kind of long, so I'll read the whole thing and then we can kind of pick it apart because I think there's some good stuff in here. So Robert sent this. He said, here's something I think would be useful to know for lots of resellers. Can you break down what liquidation really is and how it works in practice at a high level? How does it differ from traditional wholesale or retail? And how do large players like Ross, TJ Maxx, or retail outlet stores operate compared to smaller resellers on platforms like eBay or whatnot? So that's the first portion of it. There are other questions with this. So just in your mind, John, maybe break down what liquidation actually is as compared to buying wholesale like retailers do.
I mean, I really think it can be I know it can be just as similar to like wholesale buyers because so I got a customer in Indiana that I call her store. I brag on her store all the time. She's got this store. I swear it's like TJ Maxx on steroids. That's exactly what I say. I mean, she's got furniture, she's got grocery, she's got clothing, just general merch. She's got plants. Like literally, she's got a florist that I guess, makes money off whatever she buys wholesale from them. But she inventories everything. She's invested into, the computer systems and everything and the software to everything has a barcode. Everything's inventoried. Everything is just like TJ Maxx, but she does not buy anything wholesale. I mean, the plants and food, I'm sure. But outside of that, she's buying Wayfair liquidation truckloads. She's buying any kind of case pack goods, Target case pack, Walmart case pack, because she does run it. But I mean, those are liquidation loads, whether it's returns or not. She don't mess with returns, but it is the cleanest liquidation store I've ever seen. And I mean, I know that's mostly because of case pack brand new goods. And case pack is meaning everything's brand new, just like Target gets it, Walmart gets it, Amazon, whoever. But it's amazing. But that's more of an investment. And most retailers in liquidation don't make that investment or take the time to inventory every single item that comes in, barcode it, label it, price it, and all that. But she's 5 years plus opening another location and in a big shopping center, which we all know the rent and leases are not cheap in those places, and she's killing it. So I really don't think there's a difference. It's just how much you put into it. Like how do you want to make it like a TJ Maxx? Do you want to make your place like a TJ Maxx, or do you want to just be a warehouse? I personally had several warehouses, and people love that. And then you got people that put their nose up at it, like, "Ooh, I'm not going to a warehouse to shop for my furniture or shop for clothing or whatever it may be." They're not going to a dirty warehouse, no matter how clean you get it. You know what I mean? It's a warehouse still. They're not going to a shopping center and walking into a nice, pretty, clean store with tile floor. And so, I mean, in my opinion, you can do everything a retail store can. It's just depending on the time and money that you want to put into it.
Yeah, I think at a higher level, liquidation in and of itself is essentially brands or larger retailers have stock that they can't sell, isn't moving, is out of season, all of those types of things. And they're finding a way to push that to another market that will either house it and sell it another time. So like right now, in a week, all of a sudden, there's going to be 1 million Halloween truckloads.
I just sold a Christmas tree. Because they're all looking for it right now.
Yes, all of the Halloween that didn't sell, now they got to push it out somewhere for somebody else to sell, so they have room in their stock houses. Even though they're big, Target's giant, right? They still only have so much warehouse.
Yeah, they're not going to pay.
They only have so much space in a store. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So somebody like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, they are doing the same thing that we are doing, like John had mentioned. They're just doing it on a large scale, and they have more direct relationships a lot of times with these vendors to get specific products in to their stores. And that's what they do. They get mass quantities of those things. They spread them out to their stores, and they are a cheaper version of retail because they're housing the things that didn't sell in the retail store or didn't sell during that season.
And on the liquidation side, though, like, all right, if you have the space and the bankroll to go ahead and buy those Halloween loads in the next couple of weeks and sit on them and store them, you are absolutely going to your margins are going to be insane. But you better have the space, and you're not paying all this money out for the space just to have that product, or it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Dusty's got all those storage units for this specific thing.
Yeah, I mean, storage.
Yeah, this is definitely something that our business focuses a large amount on. We stockpile all year for seasonal. It's something our customers expect from us. Just like John talked about, everybody's got a different identity. Ari doesn't stockpile Christmas because that's not his identity. We do. It's part of the thing that our channel was built on. People love it. It's fun shows for us to run. So we spend a lot of time, money, and effort on stockpiling those, holding them for months at a time. And that money is tied up. We're trying.
You guys have done a great job.
The next portion of this is map pricing and wholesale, which is a totally different animal than what we, for the most part, do. We have started doing some wholesaling. So wholesale is, let's say, Ari decides he wants to start a clothing brand. He goes to China or wherever and sources those items himself, puts his own brand on it, brings it into the States, pays to warehouse it, creates his own brand, and then he wants to sell some of those items to other people, other stores. Let's say a Shields or something wants to hold Ari's brand. That is wholesaling. So Ari's upcharges them a little bit, and they house his items, and then they sell it for what he wants his MSRP to be at. So then the other portion of the question is, what is map pricing? So that's the minimum advertised price. Yes, minimum advertised price. So that is a set price that somebody like we work with, Judy Blue. Judy Blue is a wholesaler. They have their own brand, and they have a set price, which is called a map price, of where we have to, as a reseller, start their price. We cannot dive below that. So that way, they protect their brand. They protect their pricing. Because if Judy Blue sold to 15 different people, and all 15 of those people decided, okay, I bought it for $10, I'm going to only charge 15 for it. But then the next store decided they wanted 55. What do you think that's going to do to the market? It's going to be a race to the bottom to get as razor thin on those margins as they can. And they don't want that. They want a level playing field for everybody. This is exactly where the lowest dollar amount is, so nobody goes below that, and everybody can go as high as they want beyond that. So map pricing is a way to level the playing field and keep their dollars safe, keep their product safe for everybody. So that's a really, really good question.
I never even thought about that, actually. I didn't realize that.
So
Like the
you
brand
won't.
makes you actually sign like a document that says you will not start my brand under $35.
Correct. And if you do, then you chance losing your ability to buy from that brand.
But then
So
what happens with all the people buying pole for whatever and then starting pole at $1? That's another
Pole
brand.
doesn't have map pricing.
Got it.
So POL has not set any sort of map pricing on theirs. However, their wholesale prices are very high. So I would say we buy a decent amount of POL, and I would say a lot of the items we buy from them, we pay $30 to $50 for. We pay that. And then we have to charge more than that. That said, POL had a 16-year backlog of products that they had not sold. So when you guys saw this huge influx on Whatnot of all these people starting POL at $1, is because they were doing mystery boxes at that time, and they were selling those units for much cheaper because it was this massive backlog. It was not wholesale. It was a way for them to liquidate kind of behind the scenes. So now all of a sudden, that's why you're seeing the price for POL creep up, is because those aren't accessible anymore. All the Whatnot crew jumped on, ate up all 16 years of their inventory, flushed it all out within a matter of a few months, and now it's gone and they don't have any backlog. And so now everybody that wants POL has to buy it at their wholesale pricing. And even on sale, the cheapest thing that I have seen on their website is like $13 wholesale. So anybody starting POL at $1 either has a really good following, or they just happen to get some of that backlog of stuff, and their margin is a little bit smaller on it.
So
Okay,
if I were to buy
go ahead.
so if I was to buy like a brand like Farm Rio or Johnny Was or any of those brands at a wholesale price, that would make sense. Then I would have to keep it at a MAP price. So maybe the way if people are looking to contact other brands that are wholesaling is you got to mention I will keep it at your MAP price. That could be a way if you guys are messaging or reaching out to people or like because I do a lot of reaching out the link on LinkedIn for brands because I like to work with brands directly, especially our customer base likes a lot of the higher end stuff. And I've never thought about it. Like even in off price, you could say, you know what, if there's a MAP price that you want us to stay at, we can do that. Because what I think the reason why a whole bunch of brands are scared, Dusty and John, to work with Whatnot is because people won't respect the MAP price and then you get market dilution.
Yep.
So what you just solved there is like, you're making my brain now, because I sit here and I think a lot too. That makes so much more sense now in negotiations. Like, what is your MAP price that you would like us to be at? Okay, you want to be at 22, we'll be at 22 or 19. Because what I think a lot of people think of Whatnot, even though what I'm trying to change is like Whatnot is like a liquidation marketplace where people are just going to start stuff at $1 and then the brand's going to lose all of its value. Versus like I'm selling Zadig and Voltaire right now. I'm selling it at an average starting price, not an average. The starting price has been $80 every single day. We start it at $80 and we will never deviate from that. So if people are looking to contact these brands like Farm Rio, Johnny Was, and, all these higher end brands, you got to respect the MAP price. You just solved
Because
a lot of problems for a lot of people, dude.
if you think about it, let's say you're Farm Rio, and Farm Rio has 50,000 different boutiques that buy from them, mom and pop, that buy from them, and they bought that item for $55 and they're selling it at $75 in their boutique. And then they sold you the same item and you were just running it at $1. And let's say you bought it thinking you could sell it for 65 and you sell that thing for $23 and you just keep selling it for $23. What does that do to the mom and pop boutique? Right?
Cooks them.
Exactly. There's this level of mistrust then for the brand. And those people are going to walk into that store next time and they're going to be like, well, I saw that on Whatnot for $23. Why would I pay $75 for it? Doesn't make any sense. So they're protecting all of their buyers. Yeah, they're protecting all of their buyers. And I do see a shift on Whatnot. I see a shift of individuals that are looking for that higher end stuff that are willing to pay for that. They understand how much money it would cost for them to go and buy a Farm Rio dress in the store. And they understand that they're still getting an amazing deal, even at 25% off. So this mindset of whatnot just being this, Temu where you can just grab things super, super cheap, I think it's starting to fade. There are still going to be new sellers and people that are going to come in and give away things for way cheaper than they should. And that is just them learning. But I think a lot of the bigger sellers are starting to understand that race to the bottom is not serving anybody well. It's not helping anybody. We're only trashing all of each other's values and we're all sinking because of it. So I definitely think yeah, exactly. It's no fun for anybody. But let's say Ari and I buy a deal together and, he just got a deal in and we were talking about that. And he says, hey, let's set a map price for this. We've got this. We're the only ones who've got this. Let's work together. We can both sell these units together. We'll move through it faster that way, but we're going to set a price and we're not going to move from that price. You can work together in numbers of just saying, okay, there's still a good, healthy margin here for us. And if it goes beyond that on the bids, great, but we're never going to drop it below that. Because as soon as we do that, then the expectation becomes, okay, now it's $20. Now it's $19. Now it's $17.
No different than
and you devalue the brand.
Those retailers want to export their truckloads in liquidation. That's the reason.
Exactly.
Like their main customer base is in the U.S. They don't care what happens to it outside the U.S., but they know their customers are here. So why would they want their brands on a secondary market?
Yep.
A lot of things are supposed to be exported, but then you see it on a website. Like, I won't name the website because just in case they listen, but like, for example,
I just sold a load 2 seconds ago. I just sent me an invoice for a particular load that is supposed to be always exported. And it's not, it's going to Florida.
That person is an exporter.
No.
Yeah. And there is sellers on Whatnot that do that. I know that they do that. There are certain brands like a Dick's Sporting Goods that is export only.
Yep.
Just like John talked about, it is known across liquidation that is only supposed to be exported. They want to protect their brand. They want to keep it safe. And people are just not going to listen to that. And when that happens, you open yourself to a whole can of worms.
Then they're competing with themselves as well, right? I mean, like, I'm literally, I got truckloads being sold in the same city. I have a Dick's Sporting Good of the same product we're selling. And you can buy it cheaper over at somebody else's warehouse. You know what I mean? Like, why would you compete with yourself on pricing?
Yep. But you're opening yourself up to lawsuits. It's no different than selling fake items at that point. Even though it's real, there are many people that have been caught selling real items. They're genuine. They're a real deal, but they got it backdoor at a factory, and those were supposed to be demolished. They were supposed to be incinerated, and they never were. Instead, they got sent to somebody, and that person sold them. That is no different. You are still selling something, even though it's real. It was never meant to hit retail space. It was never meant to exist, and you're selling it. So it's the same deal. If that was meant to be export only and you were caught selling that, you can open yourself up to a ton of lawsuits, not just issues with Whatnot or your buyers, but beyond that. These are massive companies that have lawyers that look into these things. And so you may think, hey, I found a loophole. I'm just going to get rid of the Dick's Sporting Goods name on here and I'm going to sell all the other things and nobody's ever going to catch me. It's not the truth. These are massive companies. You think about things like audio rights and stuff like that. Everybody just assumes it's never going to happen, but people get sued all the time for using other people's content. So be very, very careful.
Especially with liquidation, they throw tracking devices. Like some of the companies throw tracking devices in the loads, just randomly.
You can't even.
And then they make sure those loads are.
Tive, and they're this skinny. It's like a sticker that you put on. It's a company called Tive. It could look like this. It's this skinny, and it's a sticker.
Yeah.
And it will tell whoever owns these goods literally everything you can think of. You could hide this underneath of a shoe.
No, they see that the tracking device didn't leave the country within a couple of weeks. All right,
and then all of a sudden it goes to your warehouse and then it ships somewhere else in the US and that person gets it and they've got a tracking device. It's pretty darn easy to connect the dots. So yeah, you got to be really, really careful. Okay, the last portion of this question, Robert, thank you for the question, by the way. This is phenomenal. And if anybody has questions like this is the way to get them answered. So his last portion of it, and finally, when it comes to sourcing, what are the typical successful strategies for small sellers? Do they lean more on online platforms like B-Stock and Costco Wholesale, or do they build local deals with liquidators?
I think that really,
All the above.
yeah. I was like, there's a lot of factors there that would.
It's kind of the same deal. Like I'm seasonal with John sometimes. I'll buy from him for certain things, and then I need something else. My buyer base shifts and it's like, okay, I really want seasonal now, or I really want this now. So then I have to go to another source to be able to find those things. It's not something that John carries.
Yep.
So I think it really depends on what you're trying to find. I think any of those are good places to find things. But I also know that there are things that you have to look out for. Laura and I bought from B Stock early on, and I know early on they've gotten better. You know, I'm not going to sit here and trash talk anybody, but we had a lot of issues with B Stock. Just the way that the descriptions were being written. Almost everything on their website at that time was like new, and then we would get it, and it was nowhere near what they had said it was, because they allow smaller people to sell on their B Stock wholesale on there. So somebody like Ari could just have a pallet of stuff that's left over, and you just list it on B Stock and say, okay, this is what the pallet is. And B Stock houses that and takes care of that transaction for you. And then Ari ships it out to you. And they're none the wiser that Ari lied about his description. And then you get it. And it's like, what the heck is going on here? So I think B Stock has gotten better at that, just looking at the descriptions of some of the things that they're selling.
Yeah,
but you do have to be mindful. Yeah, you have to be mindful on those platforms. Know what you're buying. Look at the manifest. Again, that LTL deal, they put it plain as day on there. Okay, this is what you're going to get charged in fees. This is how much it's going to cost to ship. Here's your price per unit. They've broken it down really, really well. So BSOC's done a better job of making it more user friendly. There's not as many question marks in a buy now, which is really good. Their tracking has gotten a lot better. So yeah, I think BStock, liquidation.com, Costco wholesale, like any of those spaces are good places for you to get started, but just be aware of the pitfalls. There's lots of different ways that you can fall into something. If you're going to somewhere like a BStock, work directly with somebody. Find Costco's portion on there. That's Costco themselves selling on BStock. Yep. That is different than, what do they call it? BStock surplus or BStock wholesale?
BStock direct. There's BStock direct.
And that is
no sense on anything on BStock. No, I was just saying, like, the one thing that people need to look at on BStock for is the freight, because the deals look really good. Like, there was a Costco deal on there the other day for a whole bunch of Costco shoes, $2 a unit. But then when you look at the freight for like 2 pallets, it was $1,500.
Yes.
Even like your freight, even freight in general for like anything. Like whenever I've bought anything on BStock, it's always like $600, $700. It makes absolute no sense.
And it is nice because you can filter on BStock. So you can go in their search terms and you can make it within so many miles of where you're at. So for me, I know that there is a Costco location that is only like 30 miles away from me. So if I want to buy something from Costco, I'm not going to buy it from California. I'm not going to buy it from Texas. That doesn't make sense for me. I need to wait until that pallet becomes available on BStock at my local Costco, and I can get it shipped, and it's much, much cheaper that way. So again, things to really just educate yourself, do research, ask questions. But starting locally is definitely, in my mind, the best place to start. You can walk in there, you can feel the merchandise, you can look at it, you can build a relationship, you can see what you should be looking for. It's easy to be like, oh, it's a Target pallet. Well, every Target pallet is different. Every single program that Target does is different. It's an Amazon pallet. Amazon does like 5,000 different programs, and people hide it 5,000 different ways. Oh, it's a monster. Oh, it's an Amazon medium. Oh, it's a whatever. Those are just made up names for the same exact products over and over again. Yep. They're just finding different ways to categorize it or call it. So you got to be mindful of what you're buying. You could get sucked into buying what you think is something super cool and new and like it's got the best tech. But it's nice to be able to actually go in person and put like your eyes on something, and then you know for sure, okay, this is what I should expect when I'm buying this item.
What I would suggest also, don't go in thinking or go with the mentality of putting all your eggs in one basket, saying we're going to sell this and this only. Because in liquidation, that could be gone next week and not a thing anymore, very quickly.
Very good.
So and it happens all the time. Like right now, we're light on several Amazon mediums in different locations, mostly in the on the East Coast, and these facilities are just dry right now. Whether they're renegotiating contracts, whatever the case is, we have customers not getting that product that they're used to getting, and they're scrambling to try to figure out what to get in instead, because there's not mediums close to them that are freight, or the freight cost is low enough for it to be worth it. So we're subbing all right, let's try this, Target GM, or let's try whatever to get you some product, because what you're used to getting isn't there, and they don't understand, and there's no explanation we can give them. It's other than they don't have them to ship. It does.
Yeah,
it's all the time.
Ari and I talked about that last week with the discount twins. If you started your page and you went to Goodwill and you happened to find 20 pairs of Skims, pre-loved, awesome, whatever, you had an amazing show and it was awesome, how do you scale that? How do you replicate it? How do you do the same thing over again? You got lucky. And so you need to find something that's repeatable, something that can build an identity, like John said. And beyond that, you need to find ways and different avenues. So when one source does dry up or one thing dries up, we think about how many people blew up their channels last year on Zappos, and they're probably struggling like crazy this year.
Always.
Because they didn't have another fallback. Like they hit it big on one item and it went amazing for them, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yep.
Also, on top of that, like the only way you're going to be successful and whatnot is if you have an identity. Like, just to piggyback off what John was saying, like, we sell different things every day. I have to pivot all the time on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm in my room and I see the chat going like this or like this, it's like a roller coaster some days. We have to immediately be able to pivot. And the reason why people keep coming back is because it's the identity. It's in any single business. The reason why people go to John is because he has an identity. The reason why people shop on Our Cozy Corner is because they have an identity. The reason why they shop with me is because we have an identity. Every single business is all about the identity. Like my old mentor used to say, it's like, you need to build your identity. When I was a recruiter, like there's a million other recruiters, but why are they going to trust you, Ari? You need to build an identity in the industry. And the way to do that is not by having the best product, by having the fanciest cameras, the fanciest setups, the most people in your room. It's by being genuinely you.
Yep. I was going to say too, like I'll tell people that are new all the time is like sometimes, especially on general merchandise loads, that they're kind of a gamble. I mean, I know what's, consistently good and consistently bad, but sometimes breaking even on a GM truckload is a win. Like you're not always going to hit a home run. And obviously that's not a win that we want. The customer wants, nobody wants to break even on a load. But I mean, I got tons of customers that buy 3-4 truckloads a week, and they'll tell you like, we're not going to win on every one. It's liquidation. And they have that understanding. They've been in the game long enough. They understand they're not going to win. And when you don't win, we can't just go back to Walmart that are direct ship loads and be like, hey, they didn't make any money on that load. Like, we got to give them some money back. No, that's not how that works. This is liquidation. You got a liquidated general merchandise truckload from Walmart. Maybe you got a PlayStation on it. Maybe you got nothing but, random cheap crap from the electronic sections of cell phone cases and chargers. Whatever the case is, you got what you paid for. You got a general merchandise load from Walmart. Now, on our end, are we going to try to, get you a better load, maybe a discounted rate, maybe get you $1,000 credit, just that we're going to give up out of our pocket just to make you happy, because we don't want to see you lose as a customer or as one of our customers. But it's not always going to be a win on every truckload.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue to, we talk about knowing what you're buying. And I think that a piece that we've kind of missed so far that is super useful to newer buyers is manifests. I think when you're buying something, knowing exactly what you're buying will help you make a better, more educated decision. And there are loads that are manifested, and there are loads that are not manifested.
Or if you're scared
so manifest,
or nervous, go for the manifested. You know what you're getting.
Exactly. Generally, manifested loads are going to cost more money. You know what you're getting. This is exactly what it is. These are the MSRPs that these sold for in the store. This is how much you're paying the percentage of. This is exactly what you're going to get, and this is the exact price that you're getting it for.
And don't freak out when it's not right, because at that point, we can still make it right 95% of the time if you got the wrong manifested load or if you didn't get everything that was on the manifest. Now we have something like we can go prove that you didn't get it and go back and say, hey, it was a 26 pallet load. For one, they only got 19 pallets. The driver signed off, they only got 19 pallets, and so on. A lot of it is living and learning, but the more questions you can ask to people with the experience, the better.
But a manifest is definitely a good safety net for somebody that is just getting started.
100%.
Generally, that means that somebody went in and actually categorized every single item that is on there. And there are certain liquidation companies that they only manifest. So if you're buying a load that is not manifested, you're probably buying a pick-through load that somebody is trying to offload.
Unless it's direct.
You.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Walmart don't
Yeah, so
manifest their loads, but they are direct from the Walmart facility.
Yes. Know what you're buying.
Yeah.
Educate yourself. Ask the questions. Know that if you're buying an unmanifested load, like John talked about, you might get a whole truck of toilet paper, or you might get a whole truck that has awesome electronics and other things in it. You don't know. It's not a way to premise a business if you think you're just going to strike it big on every single load. You're going to have ones that aren't as good, and you're going to have ones where you hit gold, and it's amazing. It all just depends on what got taken out of the store at that point.
Something else people should know is like liquidation's changed massively over the last 10 to 15 years. 10 years ago, the cost of like a Target general merchandise truckload was tremendously cheaper than it is now, and they were tremendously better. So like cheaper and better, like literally better than the $3,000 or $4,000 more you're paying now for a lesser load. So, the game has definitely evolved with demand, just supply and demand. All right, everybody wants to open up a warehouse. Well, we're going to charge more price or higher prices.
Supply and demand, and retailers are getting smarter.
Yeah.
Very.
You look at the retail space, and you're seeing all these stores that are closing right now. They're getting smarter. They're not closing because they're not making money. They're closing because they're putting more eggs into the basket of those successful stores, and they're taking their business and putting it online where they know more people are shopping. They're getting smarter. They're buying better, especially with all the import prices on stuff. They're buying more thoughtfully, I guess. So there's less overage that is happening. And generally the overage is not as great, which is what John is kind of talking about here. So they're getting smarter in the way that they're buying and liquidating as well.
Look at Target, Walmart. You can buy now refurbished electronics in their electronic department. Refurbished iPad, refurbished whatever, JBL speaker. They have different boxes. They say they're returned, refurbished, everything works great, just a little bit cheaper price. Not much cheaper, but a little bit. Okay, those items used to be in the liquidation truckloads. And you still will catch some here and there because you got warehouse workers that, all right, they don't feel like separating it, so they're just throwing it in the box anyways, and they don't care. But for the most part, all those items used to be in there on a regular basis. And now you're seeing less and less of them because Target's like, why are we selling for so cheap on, liquidating them when we can still almost get full price by just refurbing them? Because they used to just refurb and sell them online, but now they're selling them in store as well, at least from what I've seen in my area.
Even in our business, there's a company now called Treat where they're launching secondhand boutiques for some of the largest brands online. So like a brand like Gucci, hypothetically, right? And what they do is they create an entire ecosystem online for that brand. So it's like it's in their same website, but it's now called Gucci Secondhand. And now what that allows is the brand to control the entire supply chain because they will send all their past season customer returns there. But here's where it gets really crazy. Now, let's say, John, you own a Gucci t-shirt. Now you can upload it to that secondhand website that's owned by Gucci, that is supported by this company, and sell it. So what does that mean, and why am I saying that? Is because I've been following this company on LinkedIn aggressively. It's called Treat. There's so many companies that are out there like this right now. They're all competing. It's like in this circular tech space where they're all like trying to host different. What it is now is like they're going directly to the brand. They're saying, "Hey, brand, instead of you liquidating your inventory, sending it to liquidation, pawning it off to a jobber, why don't we just create you an ecosystem that's already built into your website where you can host all of your inventory, and then customers that already own the inventory can sell their inventory on there. So then it takes out companies like The RealReal, it takes out Vestiaire, it is so insane because it's every day it's like a new brand. I'm like shocked. You guys should check it out, Dusty. It's nuts, dude, what this company is doing. They are blowing up, and they are taking they did Marine Layer. They've done all of these brands. I saw Diana Van Furstenberg. Like, it is nuts. So, like, even, for example, what is that? Melon Hats. Very expensive hat brand, Melon Hats. So Melon Hats now has like something on there where it's like secondhand Melon Hats. Those are like $200 hats. So if you own a rare melon hat, you can now sell it back on their website. They will obviously do the transaction and you'll get paid. It is going to change this entire industry.
So that's the same, but like, you guys know you can sell on Walmart, right? Like on the website. Like, a lot of people have.
I just don't have time to list things on Walmart. I see they sell Flexes on there.
I don't know anything about it. Cards. I just have sellers or customers that sell on it, and they're really, really have some success on there. Like, I have several that really depend on the Walmart website rather than Whatnot or eBay, and they just crush it. I have no idea why. Maybe they just put more time into it and have more, or just thinking they're going to get more. Walmart's going to get bigger and better with their online presence, with being like an eBay. Or do they do? I don't even know how it works. I've never even been on it. Like, second.
Is it FBA?
Is it? I don't know. Well, I'm sure. I mean, you definitely can because you're 3PL warehouses. But.
Oh yeah, sorry, FBW, fulfilled by Walmart.
Yeah, I guess FBA would be FBA.
It works. Because now you have to be like grandfathered in for stuff. Like, I have a customer that hits me up for this.
Dude, I did Amazon 10 years ago. That's how I actually first got into it. Started Amazon, getting into liquidation. And like, if you're talking about something that's way crazier than the liquidation world or even Whatnot, is trying to sell on Amazon. My God, the hoops you have to hop through and the things you have to learn. I mean, I was probably 2 weeks before I even got mine set up, of like 7-8 hours a day, banging my head against the desk, trying to get it all to work, to get the label to print out correctly for my FBA items. It was, and I know there's all people all over YouTube and selling, how to do it.
I'm a billionaire guru.
Yeah. And I mean, it's almost worth just paying those people to show you how to do it or set it up for you, because I mean, when I say 2 weeks of probably 80 plus hours that I put into just finally getting a label printed out correctly to send my first FBA boxes into Amazon, I was like not even happy about it when it finally happened. I was just like pissed off. Like, I need to do a different business. Like, Amazon is not for me, because I mean, they make it hard. And then not long after, it's like, all right, you can't sell this, this, and this because you're not ungated or you're not grandfathered into it. And then there's guys out there, I'll get you ungated for $500. Are they ripping you off? There's plenty of those scammers. Yeah, it's that one. Amazon's a mess. Even.
You think shoes are going to come back this year? That's like, I feel like the $1 million question a lot of our viewers are going to be wondering, because there's going to be a lot of people that watch this episode.
What shoes?
Are Zappos coming back?
That's Dusty probably knows more than I do on that one.
No,
I don't think it ever comes back.
I don't think it's ever coming back. Nordstrom now is double in price.
Here's the thing, fam, and this is what the whole resounding theme here. These brands are just going to keep getting smarter. They didn't grow as big as they are because they were done with their money. They're going to continue to find ways to thin that margin. Like Ari said, bring it in their own wheelhouse. They're going to stop allowing people to sell it on third-party marketplaces. They're going to start just bringing their own third-party marketplace to themselves. Why? Why give the money away when they can recoup it themselves? They're going to keep getting smarter, and the only way that you're going to stay ahead is if you get smarter. And it's the same thing in liquidation. I feel like a lot of people spend 90% of their time learning how to be a seller and put on an awesome live show, and 10% of their time figuring out how to source. And then when something happens, like John has talked about, something dries up or something happens, they don't have the wherewithal or the connections to survive as a business because they don't know how to sell anything other than Zappos shoes or something else. Do yourself a favor and do the research. Spend time, read articles, watch videos like this, reach out to people like John, ask questions, educate yourself, get on a plane. Standing still in the same place is not going to help you meet people on the coast. Get on a plane and fly somewhere.
Liquidation pages, the Whatnot pages, read all the comments. I mean, people are constantly asking questions. There's conversations in the comment sections that will answer a lot of questions for you.
Yes, you
should
cannot
tag
just
a
throw
bunch
your
of
hands up.
We should
You
tag a
can't.
bunch of groups into this video.
We can.
I don't know a lot of the groups, but like anything that Dusty and John, I trust you guys because I don't play in Facebook land. I look at it because I've been talking to Dusty. It is like, guys, if it's too good to be true, I promise you, it is too good to be true. Do not send a wire to any of these businesses on Facebook. You will not get your items, or you will get literally
Hold on.
an
I'm on
entire
Facebook.
pallet of mock calls. Only,
If
yeah.
if you throw your hands up and claim ignorance when it comes to liquidation, you will get eaten alive.
Yep.
You will. And we're just telling you honest and straightforward. If you just claim ignorance, well, I didn't know, John, I bought a load from you and I just didn't understand. Can you give me my money back? It's not happening. It won't happen. You have to know what you're buying. You have to be educated. You have to be aggressive with your money, and you have to ask questions and educate yourself.
And I think a lot of new people come in thinking like me selling a truckload to them, I'm making $4,000, $2,000. Like, no, we're about volume and weekly. Like, for one, on our end, as selling a truck, like we want you to be successful, so we want to leave meat on the bone. Almost, I would say, 7 out of 10 loads that I sell, we make between $400 and $600 on our end. So if you bought it, like Walmart, for example, you bought a GM load, it was trash, and you come, I need at least $5,000 back. Well, Walmart's not giving us $5,000. So that means we got to go to our own pockets to get $5,000 or another $4,500 plus, the money the $500 we made off the truckload. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, that's the reason. That's the reason I tell you I'll talk somebody out of a truckload before I talk them into it if they're new, because I don't want them to just have these unreal expectations.
That's the other side of the coin too. John has that load, let's say Walmart load, and it costs John $12,000 for that load, and he sells it for $12,500. The thing is, 30 other liquidators have access to that same exact load, and one might charge $13,500, and one might charge $14,000, and one might charge $16,000.
I've heard some bad.
And you look at that, and you look at that load, and you're like, oh, $16,000. Okay, this is just the going rate. I'm just going to buy it again. I'm uneducated. I don't know. You can't do that. The more you ask questions, the more you dig deep, the more you find sources. It is amazing how many times I will have an offer on my desk, and 10 minutes later, I will have that same offer 3 times.
It happened earlier, didn't it?
Rates.
Like
yes, today. Yeah. And so as you know more people, as you grow, as you get educated and know, okay, I know a Walmart order or a Walmart load should only cost X amount of money. If somebody's offering it at X amount of money, that's not a load I want. That person is trying to price gouge me, and they're trying to play on my innocence. I need to be more aggressive. I need to learn better. And you can also play the other side where it's like, okay, I was offered this thing and this thing at these prices. I would rather buy from you, but you got to get down here. So sometimes
and it's something to think about, and it doesn't happen real often, but if say somebody's working with me and they really trust me and been talking to me for months, and so just use Walmart for an example, 10,000 or 11,500, whatever, that's the number. I'm making $500. Oh, this guy offered me for 11,200. All right, I know the cost of those Walmart loads are 11,000, and I know nobody's getting them cheaper. So he's literally just trying to undercut everybody in the market. But here's something to think about. Yeah, you're going to save $300, but is that guy trustworthy enough for, if something happens, is he going to help you out at all? Like, that's something you want to, like, I got a couple of long-term customers, probably over a year, that buy weekly, if not multiple loads a week. They have told me, like, and they've gotten sources where they're like, hey, I can get that same load for $500 less to this guy. And I'm like, because we don't always get the better price. We move a lot of volume, so we do get great prices most of the time. And most of the time, the best price, because we do move so much volume. But it's not always going to be the best price. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie about it. If somebody can get you a better price, do you not think I want to drop my price so I can sell it to you too? I'll sell it to you at that price if I can. But if my cost is 11 and he sells it to you for 11.2, I'm not going to drop to 11.2. $200 for all the risk that's involved in brokering truckloads, it's not worth it. And it's not like I'm pocketing all that money. I work for BuyLow warehouse, so that money goes across the bar. We have a whole team of people that are not even in sales that we have to cover with that money as well. But you know what I mean? Like $200, somebody's out there to either just try to steal all the customers and get them buying just from them only, or like most of the time it's somebody that's just we call a couch broker that broker. Like I have brokers that buy from me, buy from our company, and just source for me for their customers. And so I know that customer's paying more, but I mean that's just part of it, right? Like I don't know what he could be charging him 14 grand, and I'm charging him 11.5.
The moral of the story is buy directly from John.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of good guys out there. There really is. I mean, there's a good 10 to 15 guys that are out there that know the game, been in it long enough, and are trustworthy and will take care of their customers.
Where can they reach you, John?
Meet me, ASD twice a year, and then wholesale event in Louisville.
If they want to contact you, how do they contact you?
Most on Facebook, but you want me to just give out my cell number?
No, don't give out your cell number. Is there a
Don't do
website?
that. If you got an email, otherwise just find BuyLow
Jay
on
Hendrickson,
Facebook.
just like Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. But Jay Hendrickson at buylowwarehouse.com.
Okay.
There you go.
Otherwise, find John on Facebook.
Yeah, my name does the name show up on the podcast?
It does,
yes,
Because people jack last name up.
I definitely think we need a backup episode here because there's a lot of things I still wanted to cover today and go through. This is just really good stuff. If you guys gave up some point in this episode, it's at your own loss because there's a lot of really, really important information that is crucial to your business.
Hopefully we get some questions from it too, because like that's kind of the questions we can go down a rabbit hole real quick on a good question, because there's things that we're just not thinking about that people really are wondering about.
110%. Yeah. So if you got any questions, leave a comment on the video. If something was helpful or awe-inspiring, please let us know. We don't make any money doing this episode. We're not in it for ourselves. We're here to Whatnot's changed our life, and we want other people to change their life too. And it makes me absolutely sick to think of anybody getting taken advantage of by some of these people. I've been that person. So we just want to try to help you guys get away from the pitfalls and find a strategy to liquidate or find liquidation product that is safe and built up over time. It is not you're not just going to figure it out overnight. It is going to take you time and effort and connecting with people. So please do your research. Give us some comments in here. We have membership levels now on our YouTube. So if you sign up for that, Ari and I have built a Discord where it's a chat that is direct with Ari and I that you can just jump in. You can ask any questions you have. There's different tabs that are built in, resourcing, my live show, tech problems, how do I ship, that sort of stuff. It's a really great resource for you to jump on, ask your questions. We can send you a video of us live saying, hey, this is how we set it up. This is how we do it. So make sure to check those levels out. It's a way for you to give back to our community and for us to support you. But liking, giving a comment doesn't cost you guys anything. It really supports what we're doing here. We want to keep bringing
Smash that
episodes.
like button.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, John. If we tried to record this episode 2 other times, we finally got it in. We're really grateful, for you to come on and answer questions for us. We will definitely do a repeat once we get some questions in. But make sure you guys, if you need liquidation stuff, John is a good dude and his company are great guys. We have met them. They're legit people, legit loads. It's a great place for you to start. Even if it's just to kick some tires and try to figure out what loads cost and what's available and what questions that you have, reach out to him. He's a trusted source. If he doesn't have it, he's going to help you try to find somebody who does. But thank you, as always. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking this ride with us. We love being here. This is our therapy each week.
It's fun.
We love putting these episodes out and hearing from you guys about, how your selling has grown or changed based on what's happened here. So we've got a really, really exciting guest next week. You guys are not going to want to miss that episode. Yep. It's going to be really fun. We're not going to reveal who it is, but you guys will definitely want to make sure that you're there next week. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Thank
Peace.
you.